If you're trying to take your side hustle full-time, thought is that if I focus 90% of my time on sales, I'd be able to go full-time and then have hours to create content, brand, etc.
I'm cool with that. Marketing is better than sales because it's sales that come to you. In this scenario, Kevin needs to get to that paper to be able to leave his job, to be able to go into content. Yeah, I'm cool with that. That being said, for Kevin included, one post on TikTok and one post on LinkedIn could go viral and outflank everything he's doing in sales.
I'm putting the work in on social media, believing it's not just luck, but an element of skill and consistency required. He thinks it's pure luck. So my question is going viral pure luck?
No. Viral is not 100% skill. Otherwise, I'd go viral every day. But it's definitely not pure luck. Otherwise, like, what are we talking about here? Like, there's a reason Mr. Beast and I and others like are successful and consistently successful. What, have I just been lucky for 20 years? So I think both of you are right. But you're more right because you're choosing optimism and he's choosing cynicism. Anybody who weaponizes luck in life is really interesting position where they have to really self-reflect and ask themselves why they think that. Now, I don't know the dynamics here. By the way, the brother that's asking the question could be in the wrong. He might be not working that much, not working that hard, and is like posting twice a day on social, kind of putting in 3 hours of real work, even though maybe 10 hours are eaten up. And other bro might be making the candles, running the ops, running the finance, running the fucking management, like doing like 10 hours of real work and might have some sort of feelings. So let's not jump to conclusions again. As they always say, there's like two sides to the story and then there's the actual truth. But to answer the question directly, not the underlining question that I can smell in the question, virality is not pure luck. It is also not pure skill-ish. You have to have the skill to put yourself in a position to be viral, including if you go viral for something silly, you had to have the skill of humor. Like, why do we continue to diminish people's things? I do not judge what the consumer values. If they value attractiveness, I do not judge, I understand. If they value humor, I do not judge, I understand. If they value information, I do not value, I understand. If they value communication delivery capabilities, I do not judge, I understand. Like, if you are a human, this is actually a very important moment in the entire thing. If you are a human being that shits on a piece of content or a human being that has gone viral, you are very likely deploying a massive level of jealousy that is suppressing your ability to have the same thing happen. Instead of saying like the hot Tua girl is like an idiot and this is fucked up, why don't you understand what it means? Like, what does it mean that like sexual innuendo jokes over index in society? What does it mean? I'll give you an example for me. Does it mean that, let me use a good one. Does it mean that sexuality and sex is a foundational human characteristic, animalistic characteristic that is a universal understanding that, you know, makes both sexually expressive parts of the world or sexually, I mean, I don't think a lot of Americans realize how sexually prude America is compared to most of the world. Is a lot of the world's problems created in our relationship with sex as human beings? I would say there's a lot of deep shit to what I just said. I feel like I got a lot of huhs or in this answer. But like my framework when I see stuff go viral is why. And I wanna go deep, not surface, I wanna get in there. Most people are like, that's stupid, this is silly, fuck her, this is garbage, that's funny, haha, cool, silly, blah. It's like people go into like dumb shit.
Never had a moment where something did get popular and you yourself just was like, I don't get it.
I don't get a lot of things. I get that part. I get the part that I don't get a lot of things. The audacity and lack of humility, Dustin, of a human being saying, I don't get it, and thinking that means it's true, is one of the most laughable behaviors in society. Who the fuck do you think you are? You're the composition of 8 billion people's interests? I get that my opinion doesn't matter.
It's so funny because have you heard the term whataboutism?
Whataboutism? I have not heard that yet.
It's like this phenomenon online where people will see a video and think that it needs to be catered to them. So it's like, what about me? Like,
yeah,
I don't get this.
Yeah.
So like, but what about me?
I don't like when we create new words. Like imposter syndrome is insecurity.
Yeah,
Whataboutism is fucking audacity and lack of humility. I don't need to make a new term for it. You motherfuckers who are listening and watching, almost all of you, are deeply grounded. By the way, I'm a human being. Of course I have audacity and insecurity. But my levels, like in the same way some people are just fucking diesel and 0%, like I'm fucking deep on this one. It's my superpower. I don't need whataboutism coined. I know that most people are unhappy because they're audacious and lack humility. And they don't see it in me because they get the version of me that seems convicted, confident. But what makes me behind the scenes like really operate is my humility and curiosity. Like when I see Humble Hedgehog, right, and Curious Crane, like in VeeFriends, I'm much more like attached to that than Conviction Cockroach and Confident Cobra. Even though I like those characters too. I'm a mix, but people are lacking humility, which is why they don't have confidence. Tough to get to pure confidence. People call it ego. Ego's insecurity disguised as confidence. True confidence's foundation is humility. Why would I care what people think? Of course I'm not the right cup of tea for most. Of course most people don't think I'm the best looking, the smartest. Like people have different flavors, different tastes. Like what the fuck's the matter with everyone? Your audacity's eating up your life. Almost everything I don't get. I get that's the way it's supposed to be. And I get excited about my curiosity to figure out. I get everything because there's only 13 things. I may not get it in the nuance, but look where I went with the Haktua thing. I went to core, like depths of humans' relationship with sexuality. There's only 10 things. There's only 2 things. Good and bad. Light and dark. And then underneath there's 10, 15 things that represent that, and that's why everything's easy for me to read. Show me a human, let me audit their parents, where they grew up, in what era, and I'll tell you the fuck they are. Simplicity is what's complicated for most. Shit's simple out here. You take it all the way to the bottom of like, just care about the health and well-being of the people you love, and fucking, if you can go all the way there, you will skip and whistle through life. Everything you add on top of that will fuck you up.
How do you think we got to a place of overcomplicating everything?
Materialism has really hurt people. We've lost our way with valuing stuff and achievement over family and community, which is, people find that so, I love collecting things, I love it's my hobby, not my life. My work is my hobby. I do not get my self-validation from my professional career. I just do not. You know how I play basketball?
Yeah.
The fuck does that pickup game mean? It means nothing,
Yeah.
right? I go harder in playing a pickup game than I do in running my companies. It means more to me.
But why? Like why?
Because I'm very passionate about it, I love it, and I'm not in control. In business, I'm passionate about it, but I'm in control. That's why I want to buy the jet, so I can just take control of this thing that's pissing me off. I also believe that if you care about things that are silly, it's actually very healthy. I'm very hot on this thesis.
How do you define what's considered silly and not silly?
What's not silly is like, politics is not silly because it affects people.
Yeah.
Sports is silly.
Is work silly?
I think work is, and this is why I'm treading lightly, because you see where I was about to go, like everybody has to define it. I think living within your means is not silly. Like, while I'm on this tangent, let's get to the punchline, because we're going pretty deep here. Everybody on earth gets happier if they live within their means. I think the credit card has a chance to go down as one of society's biggest vulnerabilities. Like in history, it's a new invention.
Yeah.
We've only been chilling with the credit card for 50 years. Like, I think the credit card is, again, it's not the credit card's fault. It actually can be remarkable if you know what you're doing. I just think most people don't know what they're doing. I think people don't live within their means. That's why I always attack the American dream of owning your house. I love it. Fine, it's an asset, I get it. But motherfucker, people don't play it right. Everybody maximizes their deposit, gives them no cash flow. Anything tweaks off, now they're living paycheck to paycheck. This is why I attack fancy cars and watches. Kudos to all the fucking big shout out to all the gangster entrepreneurs who have built something sustainable that allows them to afford a $500,000 watch, and they don't even think about it the way most people think about buying a $5, soda. I worry about the people that bought it, that if God forbid something gets fucked up or their get quick rich thing gets fucked up, they have to sell that to a pawn shop and lose 80%. Like, it's nuanced. Live within your means. Have 4 Lambos. If that's within your means, easy peasy, and you like them. I live that. I buy very expensive pieces of cardboard. I would argue more people universally think that watches and Lambos are better than trading cards. Too many people don't live within their means. That's what's killing. So is a job silly? If you're living deeply within your means, it can be. You got tons of savings. You don't need a job for 5 years. If you guys, I don't know your situation, if both of you had 10 years worth of salary saved, my intuition is you'd be less concerned about losing your job or stressed about it. Because you would have optionality. I think people do not realize how much money they spend on how many things during the course of a year and how much it is gone. Like, people don't think about savings. And everyone's like, inflation and we got fucked by the boomers, and no accountability. You know what the boomers think? The boomers think like, I didn't go out to eat every day. We cooked at home. You know what the boomers think? They're like, we didn't have 7 purses. I had 1 purse for 9 years.
I think some people would argue life is short, so I'm just gonna do whatever I want.
Then stop complaining. You picked your short path, shut your fucking mouth. By the way, on the record, you can do whatever the fuck you want. Don't complain. By the way, a lot of people are right. For their individual life, right? Like, man makes plan, God laughs. Somebody out there decides to live, burn it to the ground, like fucking $100,000 in debt, great enjoyment, live their life, and they were destined to get hit by a car and die at 41, and they played it right, potentially. It also depends if that's where you get your joy. I can tell you that's not where I get my joy. I know a lot of people do, and that's awesome. But look, I get my joy of sitting courtside at a Knicks game. That requires money. Again, we all are doing it different. I think everybody can do everything if they shut their fucking mouth. Almost all my content is based on people that talk. I would argue my whole framework is about complaining. I think everything's cool if you don't hurt anyone and you don't complain. You can do whatever the fuck you want. And if you're complaining, I'm assuming you're upset. You know what I complain about? I don't want to go to the gym. And guess what? I don't like it. So complaining comes from a place of unhappiness.
I was gonna ask, like, how black or white are you on complaining? Like,
I'm black and white, but that's not, like, I think that's where we're about to go. Like, listen, I was raised in a household that demonized the fuck out of it to a point where I think it went too far. Then you start getting into not sharing, like, real life shit.
Yeah.
So I think there's a fine line here. Like, I am concerned about that part, but like, yeah, I'm visceral to complaining. Like, I think sharing your struggles is healthy. Therapy, it's how you form a good relationship, real candor. I think that's different than complaining. And I think that's why everybody's so upset, because now people think they're not in charge of their lives. They literally think that Joe Biden and Donald Trump are their life in America. Stock markets collapsed the last, several days. Warren Buffett sold all his stocks a couple weeks ago. Remember I mentioned it?
Yeah,
I'm like, this is the most historically correct guy in the game. We could have all just followed. I made a reference to Dustin about it.
It was on Tea with GaryVee.
It was on Tea with GaryVee. Let's clip it. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of indications that the economy might be crashing. Warren Buffett just took all his money into cash. He's usually right. So now back to accountability. Literally right now, do you understand, McKenz, how many people right this second, because we're in it as we're filming everyone. This is the Monday after all this tariff stuff. You could have sold all your stock, you would have made a fortune. Warren Buffett can rebuy all the shit he sold make a fortune. You could have. I'm not even following public markets, and I was aware that Warren did that. I'm like, maybe I should do that. Whose fault is that? Self-accountability sets you free, sets you super free. It's all your fault. And the second you realize that, life becomes phenomenal. And to the counter that, Yes, there's things that happen. Like, was it your fault that you crossed the street when that truck came? I guess. I mean, you crossed the street, but like, I get it. Like, some of us are born with genetic, there's somebody who was born right now into the single most poverty-stricken part of our world. Of course there's things in life, but if you decide that you are fully not capable of getting out of it, well then it's a wrap. And the world's gotta change its tune. That's why I get so mad at 8th place trophies, because then those kids don't think it matters. And when you don't think it matters, then you don't think you can. And when you don't think you can, when adversity hits, you actually think suicide's the right option. This shit's deeper than people think. And people think it's like, no. They disguise it and are like, we need, unless you're a deeply evil person, who wouldn't want it to be okay for everybody? Like, I get that. Like, I'm so deep into that. But where does reliance on creating that start, and where does it stop? And it's always grounded in wealth, and they're like, why are rich kids like the biggest drug addicts and the biggest fucking alcoholics? Like, money is not the variable. There's just so much to it. We gotta get back to community, man. I think it's so much better when you know? It's my favorite part of VeeFriends. Watching these people build a community, it's so cool. That's why I love sports, community.
It's funny because my family are really big into sports, and I grew up in a house where sports was always there, and I just don't have that.
Yeah, you're allowed.
And sometimes I look at my mom and my brother, and I'm like, I wish that I cared, because they seem to have so much fun.
Yeah, and it's nice for them,
yeah.
Right? It's nice for them. But by the way, there's other things. There's religion, which brings so much community, so wonderfully. Everything is good and everything is bad. Ready? Let's break it down. Religion, such a great source of community for so many, weaponized by others to kill. Sports, such a good sense for community for some, leads to their gambling addiction, which leads to their downfall for others, right? Wine, such an incredible thing for community and joy in collecting and learning and escapism for some, enables their alcoholism and ruins them for others. This absolutism is fucking everybody up. My friends, none of this is real. This is all just about you. Until you start looking at you, working on you, fixing you, hacking at you, understanding you, loving you, it's all you. Everybody's about them. Politicians, other religions, other countries, other genders, other races, other sexual orientations, other income levels, other them. Your life is about them, which is why you're unhappy, which is why you're not fully fulfilled. It's you. Get right with you. And then once you get right with you, an amazing thing happens. Then you start loving them. Then you start wanting to help them.
How do you stay consistent with daily content when you're in a highly regulated industry like finance, where every single piece of content has to be approved by compliance and marketing?
Who's this?
Doesn't say. LinkedIn though.
Very easy, because there's people that do it and get ahead of your content. Excuse City USA regulated industries. Yes, I'm aware that there's things for the SEC, and by the way, there's things for not marketing to kids. And by the way, there's things for not marketing with alcohol. Diageo's a client. Mattel and Hasbro both have been clients. Chase and Visa are clients and big clients. I've seen it all. Excuses. Your piece of content may take 3 days to come out or 9 days to come out instead of right away because it has to go through compliance. The fuck does that have to do with making content? That means you're just on a 9-day behind cycle. You make a piece of content now, comes out in 9 days. I make a piece of content tomorrow, comes out in 10 days. I make 2 pieces of content the next day, comes out in 11 days. Sounds like if you keep doing this, you're starting your real life in 9 days. Fucking excuses, y'all. You got all sorts of excuses to me. I'm a perfectionist, I'm in a regulated industry. I'm this, I'm that. You don't want to do the work. I got excuses too. Mackenzie, I got excuses. Oh, Mike, I was out late on doing Whatnot last night. It's so late. I'm traveling so much from London. I just took a long flight. I got excuses for days when it comes to being in the gym. By the way, this is why it's so easy for me to understand what people are doing at work in their career. Because I do it in the gym. I smell it on you because I got it in me too, not in this category. You saw when we were in the offsite and me and you worked out, people didn't want that heat. I was like, Andy rips, they don't want it. right? But Rips is willing to work 19 hours a day.
Yeah.
And others might not want that, right? We all have discipline. Some people are disciplined eaters, working out, parents, readers, like entrepreneurs, and other people aren't. But I've also won in the gym in a certain way. That's why the gym has really mattered to me, because I'm so far along compared to where I was. That means everybody here can make progress on their personal brand, on their career, on their entrepreneurial side hustle, on their actual startup, we can all get better, every one of us. And that's staying within the walls we work in. Back to the big shit, we can all start new relationships and break up with ones that are hard. Spouse, siblings. I said this the other day, I'm not advocating for divorce, I'm saying we can be accountable. You can move to Thailand. You could. Everything is yes, maybe. And everyone's a no, because they're more comfortable laying in the muck of their excuse. Second you understand that, you get happy. People don't see that. The last 25 years of parenting is the person sucks. You're like, no, you don't suck, baby. It's your boss's fault. It's your teacher's fault. It's society's fault. You got fucked. You were born in the wrong era. This Gen Z thing of wrong era, best era. Motherfuckers are complaining that the boomers ruined it and making millions of dollars as 22-year-olds. There were zero 22-year-old millionaires self-made fucking 40 years ago. Best era. What 16-year-old could fucking grab a phone, make a video of themselves dancing, and become a multi-millionaire in 3 years in 1986? Shut your mouth. You should kiss the ground the boomers lived on if you're talking about the era. Separation of wealth, yes. Inflation, yes. But doesn't mean you can't. You can more than ever. You know what really makes me throw up? A lot of these, I really know a lot of shit and a lot of people. There's people that make content shitting on boomers whose grandparents left them $5 million. People need to shut their fucking mouth, is what really needs to happen. If they're spitting poison. Stop being negative, y'all. Fuck. The only one that's losing if you spew negativity is you.
I know you say it's all about the individual piece of content, but I feel like my videos don't get seen by enough people to get me any traction. All my TikToks are me recapping the show Survivor, and I don't have many followers. Can you tell me how to find the success you're always talking about, where someone with only a few followers gets 1 million views?
Happens all the time. Now, 1 million's hard. 10 followers, 1 million views, happens. Happens actually all the time, which is nuts, which is why this is the greatest year of social media. But the answer to your question is GaryVee.com/attention if you don't have 15 bucks. And the answer is day trading attention. There's a skill to this. The end. This person clearly stinks. And that's okay. I stink at a lot of stuff too. I would argue we stink at TikTok. We're not growing. You have to give it love. What's my answer? My answer is I made a 44-page deck for free. Here it is, flash it. For everybody who's listening, GaryVee.com/attention. Download it, read it, implement it, do it for a year, and then call me back. I have a funny feeling you'll have a post that does well. And for the people that really are about that life, if you got 20 bucks, go to Amazon and buy Day Trading Attention. I went deep on this last book. It is a fucking banger. Let me do a break real quick. We'll be right back, everybody. I'm just gonna check, make sure there's no fires.
Kevin asked,
Kevin.
if you're trying to take your side hustle full time and only have 3 hours a day to work on it, that's literally it, would you still suggest working on marketing activities versus sales? The thought is that if I focus 90% of my time on sales, I'd be able to go full time and then have hours to create content, brand, etc.
I'm cool with that. He's saying, if I work on sales, I'll get to monies quicker. That will allow me to then do marketing. I'm cool with that. None of my advice is universal. That's actually a tremendous thing to say in this. I'm glad it came up early. A lot of my advice is valid to 78%, 91%, 83%. I'm trying to go in the margins. Now, the stuff I talk about emotionally, not tactically, we're now talking marketing with Kevin. The emotional stuff, don't be insecure, that's 100. So don't use what I just said to be oh, cool, I can use perfection as an excuse for, I can be a dick face. No. But the tactical shit, marketing is better than sales because it's sales that come to you. His circumstance, that's the macro, that's 80%. In this scenario, Kevin needs to get to that paper to be able to leave his job, to be able to go into content. Yeah, I'm cool with that. That being said, for Kevin included, one post on TikTok and one post on LinkedIn could go viral and outflank everything he's doing in sales. That being said, it's more practical, it sounds like, for him to go ham on sales, get that money up, and allows him to jump and start. And then, by the way, he probably has to double down on sales that first year to like solidify it, right? To make it stable, and then he can go into marketing. By the way, it's what I did with VaynerMedia. I wasn't making content for VaynerMedia in 2009, 10, 11. I was doing sales. I wasn't really doing content until the Ask GaryVee show in 14. I was doing Wine Library TV up until 11. I was MIA in 12 and 13. And I came back in 14 with the Ask GaryVee show, and then we got it cooking. Now I'm also zeroing in on one thing.
Yeah.
Me doing marketing, Wine Library TV, and doing Twitter and Facebook is why I was able to sell. So I started with marketing, then I did sales, then I went back to marketing. Got it?
Sure.
So if I didn't have Wine Library TV and had 1 million followers on Twitter, none of the Campbell Soup or the NHL or GE or PepsiCo would have hired me. So it's a little bit,
Barbara said, I am 44 years old and decided to become an author. I'm currently working on a book as a self-publisher. Part of that is creating a social media presence to reach people, but social media really can be extremely draining and time-consuming for me. The reality is, I'm not really into that part of the process and instead just want to write. Do I really need to be the one to do all of that in order to be noticed?
If you wanted to sell, Barbara. Now, good news, Barbara. You could be an author that is 1 in a million that just wrote such a book that it went viral by itself. Good news, Barbara. You could take money you have, if you have any, I don't know if you do, and you can hire someone to do the social media for the book. Just depends on what you want, my friends. Like, I didn't make up the rules. Like, I just hope everybody understands that. I didn't make up the rules that the way the world works is like people need to know about something to consider it to buy it. I didn't make up the rules that distribution changes. Like, yes, Barbara, in 1967, you might have wrote a book. You wouldn't be able to self-publish in 1967 without the internet. Barbara. B, let's just play a fantasy world that you could. Yes, and a bookstore owner that was prominent might put you at the front of the table and hand sell it because they like the book, just like I did for wines. There are many wines that Gary Vaynerchuk. There's one, Boudreaux, I think it's Boudreaux. There was one Washington State high-end wine that I just happened to buy, that I just happened to luckily walk down the aisle at Wine Library and grab and put on the table, that I opened and my palate just happened to think it was remarkable. I freaked out, looked in the back of the label, told everybody what the address or email or phone number was, linked it into my Wine Library TV post, and sent hundreds of people, thousands of people to the mailing list, and now it's sold when it didn't before. That happens. Luck is life. You don't have to do shit, Barbara. But you're self-publishing, which means you're self-selling. If you want people to read it, if you'd like it to be commercially successful, yes, you have to market. But by the way, you don't have to do social media, go do 50 podcasts. But who the fuck wants you on without social media? People are confused out here. Barbara, can I ask you something? I'd like to look like an Adonis without eating well and exercising like a freak. Possible? She could say yes. Steroids, implants, Ozempic. Sounds expensive.